So, St. Isaac's Cathedral was headed up by Alexander the First, grandson of Catherine the Great. But then he died, so most of the work of St. Isaac's Cathedral had to be taken up under Nicholas the First. But then he died, so now the cathedral was finished by Alexander the Second, who died. Now, the cathedral was built in honor of St. Isaac of Dalmatia, who was super important to the Romanov dynasty. Fun fact, Peter the Great, who was the patriarch of the Romanov dynasty, was born on May 30th of the Julian calendar. Now, it was Peter the Great who was responsible for shifting throne from Moscow all the way to St. Petersburg. Now, Peter the Great and his successors were more devoted to building a more Western-style city rather than the traditional Russian style. Obviously, this was a big change for everybody in Russia at the time, but surprisingly, the Tsars of Russia were actually kind of okay with the whole thing, and if anything, they kind of wanted the new philosophy and the relationship with the church, as they thought this to be a lot better than the stuff that happened with Ivan IV. Later on, Alexander I selected a location, which was a church previously commissioned by Catherine the Great and built by Antonio Rinaldi, the church being dedicated to Peter the Great. And this church was never finished, so a bit later on, when Catherine died, Alexander decided to hold a competition for the new church's design, and a French architect by the name of Auguste de Montferrand won the competition. So, Auguste de Montferrand was born in France, and he enlisted in Napoleon Bonaparte's Imperial Army. And then he quit, and then he headed to St. Petersburg, where he sought a position as a draughtsman. Now, he wasn't exactly the brightest bulb in the batch, or at least he didn't have the most formal training, but he still went on to design some pretty important stuff for the Tsars. For example, he went on to design the monument to Alexander the First, who was killed in 1834. Now, the Cathedral of St. Isaac of Dalmatia, that-a-way, was a lifelong project for Augusta, and many of his final plans weren't finished until 1842, and then the cathedral was finished a little ways afterwards, and then he died. Plop.